a.m. and we're preparing for a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council. Today is Wednesday, September 5th. We need 10 members for a quorum. There are 6 members present. Thank you to Mr. Garcetti, Ms. Hahn, Ms. Misikowski, Mr. Pacheco, Mr. Reyes, Will, Mr. Burnson, Mr. Lancer, Mr. Holden, Ms. Perry, Mr. Rudy Thomas, Mr. Waxman, Mr. Weiss, and Mr. Zine. If you're in the building or cheering on the Sparks outside, please make your way to council chambers. morning, everybody. It's now about 10:26.
Buenos días.
And we have a quorum. Welcome to the meeting of the Los Angeles City Council for today, Wednesday, September 5th, the year is 2001. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Burnson, Galante, Garcetti, Hahn, Holden, Miskowski, Pacheco, Perry, Weiss, Ridley Thomas, Wex, Weiss, Zine, Padilla. 10 members present in the quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Before we begin with the agenda items of today's meeting agenda, I would like to recognize Mr. Burnson for a presentation.
This isn't too convenient, is it? Mr. President, members of the council, we're taking this day to acknowledge some participants and people who participated in the community preparedness campaign. And I would like at this time to call to the podium Ellis Stanley, General Manager, Emergency Preparedness Department, who's here with us. And I think you at this time want to show a video, right? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Burnson and members of the council. Mr. President, the Sparks, I think, are a good example of preparedness. They've took their level of preparedness to the national championship, and they're also here today to be recognized. But we want to recognize some partners in preparedness here who've helped us put together a short PSA on preparedness, and I'd like, if we could roll that real quick. It's only a 60-second.
Good morning. Emergency Preparedness Patrol. Is your family prepared for disaster?
Mom!
Emergencies can strike at any time. That's why it's important to have a family emergency plan in case you're separated during a disaster. Have an emergency supply kit ready with non-perishable food items such as dry goods, canned goods, and water. Don't forget extra medication for elderly family members. And extra pet food, too. Include a first aid kit, a battery-operated radio, extra batteries, and, of course, a waterproof flashlight. And to reduce the risk of serious injury, fasten all freestanding items securely, including water heaters. This family gets a passing grade for being prepared. Emergency preparedness. It's an LA thing.
This was indeed a collaborative effort with Isuzu, the Screen Actors Guild, the City of Los Angeles ITA, and helping to provide the funds, as well as the actor who will be introduced in just a few minutes, and I'll ask Mr. Burnson to make some presentation.
Thank you, Ellis. Before I start with the presentations, let me just add that the City of Los Angeles has a great history of preparedness. We were probably one of the leading cities, certainly in the country, maybe in the world, in preparing for emergencies and such as the Northridge earthquake. And it paid off because the people of Los Angeles knew how to react and were prepared, and for the type of disaster we had, the amount of damage, the damage was terrible to buildings, but the physical damage, the loss of life was minuscule by comparison to the size of the event. So we've continued along that program, and I want to take this effort this time to thank some of the corporate sponsors who have participated in this program and made this video and other things possible. So at this time, I'd like to call to the podium Cunningham Escott DePayne Talent Agency. Receiving will be Mr. Paul Doheny, the Vice President. Mr. Doheny, are you here? Thank you very much. Congratulations, and thank you very much. Next, I'd like, the next participant would be the American Isuzu Motor Incorporated, receiving Mr. David Green, Executive Manager of Advertising. David? Let me also add that Isuzu was one of our very, very early sponsors in the old days when we first started our program, when Bob Lorsch was involved, and I think representing your company at one point. Okay, next would be the Screen Actors Guild. Receiving will be Mrs. Ninian Apria, the National Board Member. Thank you, and congratulations. Thank you for that. Okay. Also here, also not here, but participants were the Municipal Access Policy Board, Mr. Paul Janis, who is the Assistant Manager. Is he here? Oh, okay. How are you? Sorry, okay. Goodby, Silverstein, and Partners were unable to attend. Maybe that was the one. Or are they here? Okay. Okay, next I'd like to call up the producer and director, Mr. Robert Manciero, producer director, and our special honoree, Mr. David Leisure, who is the actor who I know you've all seen in many, many things on television, including some of the Isuzu commercials. Right?
Yes, sir.
Don't think we didn't notice. Mr. Manciero, you first. Congratulations. Thank you. And David, it's my pleasure to present you with this, and thank you for your
very
efforts on
much.
this.
I appreciate
Okay?
that.
My pleasure. Who wants to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment here, please?
Oh, thank you very much.
Unaccustomed as you are, right?
Yes, unaccustomed to speaking in public as a semi-professional actor. I am pleased and proud to be a part of this. There was hundreds of people that went in, that were involved in making of this. Hopefully we can get the word out about emergency preparedness. I'm proud to announce that the Screen Actors Guild got behind this very much. They have a new forum on to help the city out with many of these aspects. Also, I'm very proud that Isuzu got involved with this.
Long ago.
Long time friend of the city, and allowed me to participate in this. I want to thank Paul Doherty and my agency for negotiating all the little silly things that had to be involved. Also, I would like to thank my wife very much for putting up for me for a long time. And so anyway, also it was a wonderful job because a lot of people did a lot of work, and I get to take all the credit. So thank you very much.
Hold on, before you go away, Mr. Burnson.
Just let me add one thing before I know some other members may want to say something. I would be remiss if I didn't mention at this time, although Johanna has passed away, but Hanna-Barbera were instrumental in beginning the program with us, along with Isuzu, and our long-standing program, which goes back about 20 years on public safety and preparedness, started with some of these books. So go ahead, Mr. President.
And yes, members do want to also say a few words. The chair recognizes Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, I think that we should join with Mr. Bernstein in congratulating and thanking the volunteers for the job they've done with the public service announcements and the staff. But today, with Mr. Bernstein having 1 year, 10 months left in office, I think it's important to note that when I first got elected, he was the king of emergency preparedness. In fact, he planned for the city long before the big earthquake came, with a big event at Dodger Stadium, which he was responsible for. The federal government came in with helicopters and all kinds of emergency equipment to demonstrate how we would reduce the pain if a certain earthquake were to occur. In each of our districts, he also orchestrated a emergency preparedness hearing session in each of our districts, so that we would also be prepared for such an event, catastrophic event. I'd like to just mention one other person. Did you say Gina?
Is it Gina?
Yeah, right. The last name is a new name that I'm just hearing for the first time, but her other name is Zinovich. And I knew her when she was a little girl in the California legislature when her father, George Zinovich, who was a state senator, served with me from Fresno area. And she's been a public servant all of her life, born into that kind of environment. And I'm glad to see that as a member of the Screen Actors Guild, you're still performing here today. Well, I will say, however, that her dad was a great state senator, was a competitor for President Pro Tem Jerry Brown appointed him the appellate court judge in Fresno area, and now he's retired, and he's doing a good job as a lobbyist. So sell it to your dad for me, and congratulations once again for the award that you received today.
Thank you. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to praise also the work of my colleague, Councilmember Bernstein, and of EPD, but I couldn't resist the opportunity to tell Mr. Isuzu that we've had many famous people here in council, but it's an esteemed honor to have someone of your stature here, and that it was a very dark period. I know I speak for many people in this room. It was a very dark period when Isuzu dared advertise without you, and welcome back. It's nice to have you back.
Anyone in the press room?
Well, they caught him when he was reconditioning, right? We saw the footage. Mr. Reyes.
I also want to rise and thank Councilman Bernstein for putting this package together. I'm especially thankful that looking at our packet that's multilingual, it's in Spanish, that you have your subtitles in the commercial in Spanish as well. It's very key given the diversity of our city that we all work together and to respect that diversity and that language. Thank you.
You know, speaking of having it in Spanish as well, where I got the idea for these, we did the number of brochures which were done by Hanna-Barbera, and they were cartoons using Yogi Bear. But when I was in Japan to study their earthquake program, where this basically started, we got the idea for it. I looked at their materials, and it was all printed in Japanese, but they had the cartoon characters doing it. And you didn't need the language thing. You just needed to look at the cartoons and understand what to do. And I thought it was very interesting because that's a universal language, which means watch your you-know-what.
There you go. Thank you so much.
In closing, I'd like to again thank you, Mr. Bernstein, but also let the city know that everyone in that commercial except the star was city employees or their children. And just shows you that emergency preparedness is an LA thing, and we thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, before we proceed with the agenda, just want to remind everybody there's been several requests submitted for early departures from today's council meeting. I know there's the Medal of Valor ceremony later today, as well as other functions at the noon hour. So we have an agenda to get through. Ask that we all stay focused and move forward with the agenda quickly. Madam Clerk.
Approval of the minutes.
Ms. Hahn moves. Mr. Garcetti seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Reyes moves. Ms. Perry seconds.
Before beginning the regular agenda, Mr. President, there are several items to continue. A request from Councilmember Weiss to continue items 3 and 4 for 2 weeks, and that would be September 19th.
Colleagues' requests by Councilmember Weiss to continue to item 3 and 4. Without objection, those items will be continued. I will announce to members of the public who submitted cards to speak on item 4 that this item is being continued.
Also on item number 5, a request to continue that to October 3rd.
Request to continue item number 5, also without objection.
Also a request to continue item number 7 to October 10th.
Item number 7, members, without objection, will continue.
Item number 23 has been requested to continue to September 19th.
Item number 23, also continued without objection.
And item number 27, a request from Councilmember Reyes to continue that to September 19th.
Number 27, colleagues, without objection.
And one of the closed session items, item 45B, the city attorney's requested that be continued to October 3rd.
Item 45D, request from the city attorney's office, without objection.
On the regular agenda, Mr. President, there are confirmations of city officials, items 11, 12, and 13. Item 11 is a confirmation of Sid Stolper to the Board of Water and Power Commissioners.
Okay, let's take commission confirmation items first.
Ms. Burks.
I believe public hearing has been held on the confirmation of this appointment.
Yes, Mr. President.
As the nominee comes forward, I'd like to recognize Ms. Galanter.
When was the public hearing held? Mr. Stolper was not available at the time of the committee meeting. That's why we...
Is there a public hearing today then?
brought it in. Well, I mean, if you don't have any cards, that's the end of the public hearing. I did want to say, the reason I pushed the button, though, was to say that I did have the opportunity to speak with him at some length, and I'm prepared to recommend his approval.
Okay, yes, there have not been cards submitted on this item, item number 11, so we shall deem the public hearing open and
Open and
closed.
closed.
Any members have questions of Mr. Stolper? Any further questions or comments? We're going to let him off the hook pretty easy here. Madam Clerk, please open the roll on the confirmation. Excuse me, before we close the roll, Mr. Garcetti.
Good morning. Just a very quick question about green power with DWP. I know that Edison has about 12% of its electricity is sustainable. We generate about 1 or 2%, I think, is sustainable. What kind of commitment and interest do you have in making that production number go up in DWP?
I think that we need to look at all alternative sources of power generation in the time to come. It's going to be one of the things that actually undermines our commitment to growth here if we do not have means for power generation. Green power is certainly a viable resource now. Through new technologies, is becoming more apparent to be used in every day. So with that, I think I need to know more about what and where and what the applications would be. But certainly I think that we need to take into effect all the acts that we do and what they mean to our environment.
My office would be happy to sit down with you and discuss some of those things at your leisure.
I too would be glad to do that.
Anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on confirmation. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Congratulations. You are now a commissioner.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
I know you'll do a good job. Next item, please. Forthwith on that item.
Item number 12 is also Commissioner Personnel Committee report has been submitted and distributed to all the council members.
And is the nominee here? I ask that she come forward. Any members with questions for this commissioner? The chair recognizes Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning.
Good morning.
I know we have a quick schedule, so I'll try to move things along. I was wondering if you could comment at all about CEDAW, the Convention to Eliminate All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which the Council passed a resolution last year to implement, and what sort of support you'd like to give the Commission to make sure that it can begin to implement that plan as the Council approved last year.
I started many, many years ago, whether being on the board of directors of the Girl Scouts and going to young ladies and telling them that they have education and they can get out of the barrio or wherever. I also have talked to sorority girls telling them that they can reach their full potential, that someone says that you can't be an engineer because you're a woman, you can't take math. I was there. I was all through my education, I was always said, oh, there's that woman. And so I want to make sure that women understand that just like anybody else, they're just a person who have capabilities, and if they're outstanding in engineering, then they can go for it. And I want to make sure that women have the same rights when it comes into the job market, that they're looked at equally, and that they have an opportunity to succeed and not be held back because they have feminine after their name.
Thank you. This CEDAW will also give us a chance, really, in the city in particular, because I'm sure you know this, but Los Angeles does a worse job with hiring and promoting women in the public sector than in the private sector. It's usually the reverse in most other cities, and I think we inside the city can do a better job. And I think it's a great opportunity, so I really would recommend that you sit down with the commission staff and talk to them about the history of the CEDAW campaign here. But,
Yes.
And I support your nomination.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. The chair recognizes Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we break the microphone. We interviewed Councilmember Miskowski and I interviewed the nominee yesterday at length, and we found her to fit all the qualifications, the experience, the desire, the dedication. We will recommend unanimous approval for confirmation to the Commission.
Any other members wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, confirmation of the commissioner is now before us. Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Forthwith on that item. Next item, please.
Item 13 is confirmation of Connie Friedman to the Board of Civil Service Commissioners, and that's a Personnel Committee report has been submitted today and distributed to the council members.
Okay, may I ask you to come forward, please? Members, any questions for the nominee? Mr. Zine.
Not a question, but another request. Connie Freeman nominee was also interviewed yesterday at Personnel Committee by myself and Councilmember Misakowski, and we had unanimous approval on her confirmation to the very important Civil Service Commission, and I would call for my colleagues to support that recommendation for her appointment to Civil Service Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. Anyone else? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank you
You are
very
now
much.
confirmed. Next item, please.
On the regular agenda, item number 1 is an item notice for public hearing. It's a 2000-2001 weed brush abatement hearing assessment.
Members, item number 1 is now before us. Notice for public hearing, and do not have requests from members of the public to speak on this item. We shall deem the public hearing open and closed. Any members wishing to speak on item number 1? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Item 1 is approved.
Mr. President, item number 2 is a hearing on 3 street lighting districts. Council should open the public hearing and continue the hearing and ordinance to September 26th.
Okay, we shall open the public hearing. I do not have requests from members of the public to speak on this item today, so we shall continue this item and the public hearing.
Next item, item number 6, is also a public hearing item. Planning Land Use Management Committee report has been submitted and distributed to the council members.
Colleagues, item 6 is now before us. Also notice for public hearing. Do not have requests from members of the public. We shall deem the public hearing open and closed. Any members wishing to speak on item number 6? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved.
Item number 8, Mr. President, is a protest hearing and ordinance regarding street lighting district. There is a majority protest, and council should adopt the abandoning ordinance.
This is also an item notice for public hearing. Seeing no requests from members of the public, we shall deem the public hearing open and closed. Any members wishing to speak on item number 8? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That item is adopted.
Item number 9 is ballot tabulation advisory board nominations and ordinance first reading regarding the Toy Town property and business improvement district.
I see Mr. Carey has moved his way up to the table. We'll begin with a brief presentation by him, and we do have cards on item number 9.
This is the Toy District Business Improvement District. The protest, $81,200 versus $134,600 for. The council now has the ability to move forward and adopt the ordinance to create this district. In addition, our assessment, the city assessment has been reduced after an analysis by my office relative to the benefits we anticipate receiving, going from about $1,500 down to $1,100.
This item is notice for public hearing. The council calls forward Tracy Lovejoy.
Hi, yes, my name is Tracy Lovejoy. I'm Executive Director of the Central City East Association, and we administer the Toy District bid. I just wanted to get up here and say on behalf of all the property owners, we're happy to have this renewed again. And I just wanted to thank the staff of the City Clerk's office that helped tremendously in moving this forward, as well as the staff of Councilwoman Rita Walters and Councilwoman Jan Perry's office in moving this along quickly. And I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes the public comment period for this item. Members wishing to speak, Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to say thank you, and I hope we have a unanimous vote. I look forward to the establishment and growth of this business improvement district to help me and help the entire city begin to address the enormous, not only business, but social problems in the immediate area. And I am sure that we will all be able to work very well together in a collaborative fashion.
Any other members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That item is adopted. Next item, please.
Item number 10 is an assessment building and safety committee, building and safety report, and also an amending motion relative to the assessment amount.
Okay. We do have cards submitted on this item as well. We shall open the public hearing, and the council calls forward first Ms. Marianne, is it Pearls? Please come forward at this time, to be followed by Bob Locker.
Good morning, everyone.
Buenos días todos.
My name is Marianne Pearls, and my mother lives up at 17638 Ravella Drive. I'm also here representing a few other members of our community who could not be here, Marianne Boxberger and Joyce Ulrich. First, excuse me. I would like to say that our community is quite appreciative of all the hard work Councilwoman Cindy Mizikowski, her staff, the Department of Building and Safety, and Mr. Sue is doing to enforce and further monitor Mr. Adut's construction at this particular site. Certainly, it has not been an easy task, and we are very grateful for their persistent and hard work. In regarding Mr. Adut, I wish to strongly encourage the City Council members to hold Mr. Adut responsible for the expenses the city incurred as a result of his illegal excavating at this noted site. Not doing so would be like sending a big permission slip to Mr. Adut and any other builder that he is not responsible for his actions. And if he cries victim, as I long suspect that he is doing, the city will be intimidated into having the taxpayers pick up the tab for any problems the owner or builder creates. What a nightmarish precedent this would be establishing. Mr. Adut's illegal grading on this geological hazardous lot put Castellamar Road and his adjoining neighbors in imminent and immediate danger, thus forcing the city to immediately install this safety barrier. This 8-foot-high impact wall protects the road and his adjoining neighbors from harm. Mr. Adut, as any other citizen, must be held responsible for his actions. For the safety of our community, he must follow the codes and the laws of this city. Without consequences, there is no need to do so.
If I could ask you to conclude, please.
Okay. Just a little bit. I am encouraging the city to hold Mr. Adut entirely responsible for the full cost of this task. The other thing I just wanted to say is, given his past history, I just wonder if the city would not please consider having a specialist hired to build these retaining walls. He is inexperienced, and he's made it quite clear from his behavior these last 10 years that he's way in over his head. They do not have a licensed contractor who specializes in building retaining walls on hazardous property on this site. And this is a threat to all the adjoining neighbors. This is not a flat lot. And I wish you all had a photograph of this so you could really understand.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bob Locker, to be followed by Murray Levy.
Thank you, Mr. President and council members. I agree with what Ms. Pearl just said. I also would like to commend Cindy Misikowski's office and staff, and the staff of Building and Safety, particularly Mr. David Su. I urge you to pass this motion. This has been a very difficult project with a very difficult developer, and the city needs to send a message that when developers endanger property and life, and the city has to come in and do remedial work on this, and that it's absolutely necessary that the developer pay for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Murray Levy.
Good morning. My name is Murray Levy. I live at 17740 Castellamar Drive, directly below the property. And I agree with everything my neighbor said. I just wanted to come here to personally thank our councilwoman, Ms. Miskowski, and Mr. Su and the members of his staff for building this wall, which literally protects my house and my family from damage. So thank you.
Thank you very much. This concludes the public comment period on this item. The chair recognizes Ms. Misikowski.
Members of the council, we have staff available, but let me see if I can quickly sum up. This is, there are 3 adjoining lots in Pacific Palisades in the Castellamar area. That's the area north of Sunset. It's the area where you've seen Caltrans building many retaining walls to hold back that slope. We have a private property here where an owner 10 years ago got into some difficulty by making some cuts that were irregular, and where ultimately there was an attempt to try to repair and restore the lots and really create a safe situation. This developer was told that the first thing that must be done was to build the retaining walls in this area where the cut slope had been, and the developer instead proceeded to start removing more dirt instead of building a retaining wall. The city issued an immediate order to build a debris wall against which the boulders and things that could come falling down on a very, very steep slope would have then hit the street and gone across the street to properties that were threatened on the other side, not to mention the properties that are above this slope. When the developer did not comply, the city went in and built the wall itself, not a retaining wall, but a wall on the surface of the street, so that anything that could be falling or would be falling and be a threat to the public safety and other private property was going to not occur. What we have before us today is the lien that we are looking to put on the property for the work that the city had to do because the developer was not able to respond to the imminent threat and danger as the city had noticed him. This has been worked through with the city attorney. It meets all of our tests of imminent danger and hazard, and I move that we approve the assessment as recommended by the Building and Safety Department.
Thank you, Ms. Misikowski. Any other members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
This item is adopted. Next item, please.
Items for which public hearings have been held, items 14 through 22.
Colleagues, items 14 through 22 are now before us. Public hearing has been held on these items. Any specials? 14 through 22.
Excuse me, Mr. President, item 21 has 2. Actually, item 21 and 22 both have 2 reports on the file. Item 21, council may adopt both reports, and item 22, the recommendations do differ. Do you wish to call that one special?
Let's call item 22 special. Items 14 through 21 are now before us. Any other specials? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on those items. And colleagues, for clarification, item 21, if you vote affirmatively, we'll be adopting both motions. Mr. Ridley Thomas?
On 18, Mr. President, I would just simply request that items 3 and 4 on that be referred to ITGS on the recommendation.
Any questions or comments on that? Seeing none, items 3 and 4 of item number 18 are referred to the Information Technology General Services Committee. The balance of the items are now before us. Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those items are approved. Next item, please.
Items for which public hearings have not been held, items 24 through 44.
24 through 44 are now before us. Do not have requests from members of the public to speak on these items. We'll deem the public hearings open and closed. Mr. Reyes. Item 30 called special by Mr. Reyes. Any other specials? Any other specials? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on the balance of the items. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those items are approved. Next item, please.
Mr. President, do you wish to hold item number 45, which are the closed sessions, on the desk?
We'll hold the closed session items on the desk.
Item number 46 is on the continuation agenda. It's an item for which public hearing has been held.
Item 46 is now before us, an element of an action taken yesterday that was carried over to today. Ms. Perry, do you wish to speak?
Mr. President, if we could hold that item on the desk. I've got one more motion coming through the process.
Okay, we'll hold item 46 on the desk. Mr. Holden. Forthwith on item number 19. Let's take a pause in the agenda, colleagues, for one additional but very special presentation today. The chair recognizes Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues. Seems that the team is not here, but we were all, many of us represented at the rally outside in honor of the newest champions in Los Angeles, the WNBA Sparks. So I guess I'll be giving this to myself here. Here's the certificate. Really an incredible team that all of Los Angeles needs to be immensely proud of. A 28-4 record, the longest winning streak in WNBA history with 18 games, undefeated at home. A record that really speaks for itself. We not only have one champion, we have two champions in the city. I encourage all Angelinos to buy tickets to the Sparks games, as my staff does, season tickets. Besides the last game, there's always seats available. They're exciting, dynamic games. Here they are. Here's a member of the Sparks team with the championship trophy right now. Let's give them a hand. The whole team. Come on. Okay. The rest are coming, so let's wait a second. I can just read the resolution as the team comes in, or parts of it. Whereas Los Angeles City Council celebrates the record-breaking season of the Los Angeles Sparks, and whereas the exceedingly talented team led by its owners, the Buss family, its general manager, former Los Angeles Spark Penny Toller, former Los Angeles Laker coach Michael Cooper, who now becomes a dual champion in the NBA and WNBA, and assistant coach Glenn McDonald, is to be congratulated for its outstanding team accomplishments, including boasting the league's best record for 2 consecutive years with 28 wins and only 4 losses both years, breaking the WNBA record for most consecutive wins with an 18-game winning streak, and being the first WNBA team to complete its regular season undefeated at home. All the players, Lisa, Latasha, Tamika, Yukari, Andrana, Lisa, Nicole, Rhonda, Mawadi, Nikki, Leisha, and Wendy. Did I miss anybody? All right. Congratulations from all the City Council. You're real champions. We're proud to have you here today. Does anybody want to say anything at all?
Any of the team members wish to say a few words?
Miembros del equipo deciden decir algunas palabras.
Come on, Lisa. Our own homegrown hero, Lisa Leslie.
Well, thank you very much for the proclamation. We have just had a wonderful time here at City Hall, and the city has been great. All of you and Mayor Hahn, especially, just having us has been a wonderful opportunity to represent our city. And obviously for me, being a hometown, and having the championship here in LA is really a dream come true. So we just want to thank you all again. And obviously, it feels great to represent our city so well, having two champions here now. And we truly are the city of champions. And again, we're just going to try and do it again and make sure we represent ourselves well. Thank you.
Thank you all, and we look forward to seeing a repeat next year.
Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, I just want to join with Mr. Garcetti. We have Lisa Leslie from Inglewood, and you have Michael Cooper from Pasadena, and the team plays right here in LA. So it's a regional victory for all of us, and you guys are the one who did it, made it all come true. Thank you once again. Congratulations.
Ms. Hahn.
With due respect to all the guys, girls rule.
And just one additional comment. I heard outside in the ceremonies that Staples Arena is having a tough time. Where are they going to put all these banners? So I just wanted to invite you all to take a look at our rafters up here. We'll be more than happy to accommodate. Thank you very much, Mr. Garcetti, and congratulations again. You make the city proud. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 22. There is the item with two reports on the file.
Colleagues, item number 22 is now before us. There are two reports which do differ, one from Intergovernmental Relations and the other from the Chair of Public Safety. A motion is required. Ms. Michikowski, do you wish to speak on item number 22?
No, I didn't call it special. I don't know who did.
We call special. There's two reports on file which do differ. One from the Public
I will
Safety
move
Committee.
the Public Safety Committee. I'm sorry.
Any other members wishing to speak on item number 22? Or questions on item 22? Seeing none, the Public Safety Committee report has been moved. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Item 22, the Public Safety Committee report, 22B, is approved. Next item, please.
Item number 30, called special by Councilmember Reyes.
Item 30 now before us. Mr. Reyes.
Council President, colleagues, this is a rather basic routine process of getting an easement to a property. And I'm being opportunistic because I also have a street adjacent, Avenue 50, and I'm hoping department staff is here with us. This is a project in which you'll find we have invested quite a bit of funds for redeveloping this housing in the neighborhood. They call this the Hole. It's been a hellhole because of the gang activity and all the stuff that goes on in these apartment complexes off the freeway. The city has invested a tremendous amount of resources to rebuild them. We have great facilities there, the Highland Village, and other housing programs that have evolved and are improving the quality of life for the families. But we do have a private property owner who has encroached on the street. They've taken half the street. We've asked to get this cleared up. The person did it illegally without permits. I was working on this 2 years ago. I went back to go celebrate the finishing of these projects, and it's still there. So I just need some guidance from the department. What does it take to get it cleared up and open up the street again?
Jim Washington, Bureau of Street Services, Street Use Inspection. Councilmember, we have communicated with engineering for a request to say that we will not issue a revocable permit to this property owner to maintain that encroachment. So once we receive that communication from engineering, we will go forth and order the property owner to remove and restore the right-of-way to its previous condition. Absent a timely response from the property owner, the Bureau will order Bureau forces to remove it.
What's the time frame? I mean, we've been waiting 2 years. How long is it going to take?
It could take as long as 2 months.
2 months. Okay, I look forward to that. A lot of families are looking forward to using that street again, and I appreciate your assistance.
Any other members wishing to speak? Item 29, or excuse me, item 30. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Item 30 is adopted. Next item, please.
Mr. President, next item, number 46, I believe the substitute amending motion that has been distributed.
Item 46 is now before us. Ms. Perry has, I think, temporarily left chambers. Let's continue to hold that on the desk and go to the next item.
This is the time for public comment on non-agenda items under the council's jurisdiction.
We do have a few public comment cards submitted. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak on items not appearing on today's agenda. The council calls forward Ms. Wendy Elaine, is it Trial? Can't read the writing. To be followed by Rich Reed. Is Wendy here? Here she comes.
I live at 2600 South Hoover, near the campus of USC. I live in room 2. I have a door key there that I received from a Monique Monroe, who is no longer an employee there. The building is under surveillance. I would like to know, is it being surveillanced by the county or the Los Angeles Police Department, or who has it under surveillance? I've been injured in the building, and I just want to bring it to the attention of the council. I've almost lost my life. I'm not moving again. I just moved from 4025 Don Tomasa Drive, apartment 5 in Baldwin Hills. I've been to St. Louis, which is my hometown, 805 Westgate, second floor, University City.
Okay.
I'm not moving out of the building, and if you murder me in the building, maybe the judge will handle it, but the place is under surveillance, and you can laugh it off. We'll see who laughs the best.
Okay, thank you very much. Not sure which council district that is, but we'll try to find out for you if you stay for a minute. Mr. Rich Reed.
Thank you for allowing me to address the council. When I was here a few weeks ago, I mentioned some wild results obtained with some fundamental education reforms. I'd like to mention one other and build on that idea. A 3-year-old in music lesson number 1 played about a song and a half, his first music lesson ever. And in lesson 7, shortly before he turned 4, he played 9 songs and 6 classical themes on a keyboard. When he was 4 years old, he helped make a presentation to the city council at that time about the music reforms sponsored by Councilman Nate Holden. I thought that that would be enough at the time to break through with the ideas. Perhaps now, with some of the relative old-timers and with some of the rambunctious new people, we might be able to get a group together to help lead with breaking through with these reforms. Reasonable projections for the future using fundamental reforms are 90% of 7-year-old children in Los Angeles able to look at any random pages of the LA Times or the complete works of Shakespeare or the complete works of Frederick Douglass and easily read all the words out loud, pronouncing accurately, and able to play dozens of songs and dozens of classical themes, and able to look at full orchestral scores of Beethoven symphonies, Verdi operas, etc. Any random pages, easily read the correct pitches of all the notes for all the instruments and voices, something which most professors of music cannot do now. Please get into these issues in some detail. I'd be glad to meet with each of you. When you understand the ideas for yourself, then you might come up with even more creative ideas for testing and improving and implementing the ideas than I have so far.
Thank you very much. This concludes the public comment period for today's meeting. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Mr. President, item number 46 is on the desk.
Item 46, Ms. Perry, are we ready?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have a couple of housekeeping details I want to take care of. I have put forward today a substitute amending motion. This is a substitute motion to the amending motion that I put forth the other day, and this substitute amending motion is a result of some follow-up discussions that we had with the development team to address the issue and the concerns raised as we move forward in this process towards the development and construction of a hotel, regarding the need to make sure that we have been diligent in identifying all options for potential revenue and ways to mitigate the potential need for a subsidy. In addition to that, all council members have been provided a copy of the motions that have already been introduced. The next one is on the issue of opening up discussions on the need for minority participation in the event a hotel does occur, and to make sure that we have a clear and open process that's been very clearly identified in any agreements the city commits to, and to level the playing field. And the third motion is designed to make sure that our public investment is protected and that we have put some time frames on our discussions with the developers. Many of us have raised a concern about the 20 years, and we need to make sure that they come back in 6 months with more information and more thresholds to help us shape and hone our strategy on ensuring that we do get a hotel at the end of the day, and hopefully it will be substantially sooner than 20 years.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. The chair recognizes Mr. Reyes.
I did want to take this opportunity, since we were all talking about the project, this process, but I wanted to recognize the staff, the city attorney, Chile State Analyst's office, everyone involved in this process. I know over the break, they met with me, they briefed, they went through a whole stack, and I wish I could show you the report about this thick. The fact is, there's a lot of good work from the city staff, and I just think they should be recognized for their contributions in this process as well.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, will you hold my time while I get a report from the General Manager of the Convention Center, Mr. George Ruckus? He gives a status. I think it's essential because the hotel is needed, and he will tell you that, and why it's needed, not tomorrow, but yesterday. We could have some financial problems at the convention center, so go ahead.
Good morning, George Rakes, General Manager of the Convention Center. For the last 15 years, the city has been hoping to attract a hotel in the downtown area near the Convention Center so we can improve our overall marketability of Los Angeles to the convention industry, as well as improving the overall performance of the Convention Center. We performed, in spite of the downtown hotel, fairly well over recent years, but with the competition that is now occurring from Anaheim and San Diego with their expansions, our ability to attract these major conventions that brings in a considerable amount of revenue to the city in regard to the transient occupancy tax is even more crucial. So we've been preparing for a downtown hotel for many years. We've attempted to operate the convention center in a first-class manner in order to attract events to Los Angeles and have a positive experience here. So the importance of a downtown hotel near the convention center that will increase the overall downtown hotel inventory will be a major component of our ability for attracting conventions in the long term. And while we're focusing on a short-term situation and how this is going to happen, this really goes into a much longer situation and where Los Angeles wants to be positioned over the next 10, 15, 20, and 30 years, because this is a long-term commitment and one of the key anchor points in attracting conventions to Los Angeles. So we are very hopeful that the hotel development that's being proposed by the LA Arena Company will come to fruition because it is so vital to our business and as well as to the overall economic conditions for the city of Los Angeles, not only in the near future, but in the many years ahead.
Mr. President, members, I think it was important to get that report. More important that we need a hotel, we need it now, not 20 years from now. I voted, it was 14-1 on the original deal with the Staples Center, and I voted no, because there were not enough safeguards within that contractual agreement to protect the taxpayers of the city of Los Angeles. Time has come now where the train is moving, and sure, I've been on the tracks, but I stepped aside to see whether or not give you an opportunity to make a bad project a good one. Staples Center has been very attractive for the city of Los Angeles, and I will say that. But in terms of contractual clauses within the contract, it's been bad for the taxpayers. Most of you might not know, but we have a debt, bond debt of $1.3 billion. Just yesterday, each of you talked about we will not use any taxpayers' money to build a hotel. Might have to do something like that. The fact of the matter is that every single year there's a shortfall for the convention center because we don't have the convention space to be competitive. The year 2003, as you already mentioned, we'll have $10 million less from the gross coming in for conventions, which means the difference to be made up in terms of gap financing to pay down the bond is going to go from $25 million, from $15 to $17 million a year out of the general fund, to $25 to $30 million out of the general fund to subsidize the convention center because we're losing revenue. There are some of our clients who brought business to the city through the convention center, came and testified against the contractual agreement that was before us at the time. The first one, stating that if it were to go forward, they would not come back in years to come to the convention center, and that's what's happening. After saying all that, I'm still saying the Staples Center is all you got going right now. But the more you build a 7,000 arena, which is part of this deal, which I didn't know about until you read in the paper, that's going to even be more competitive with the convention center. You'll say that. It'll be more competitive, which means all the profits come from that which is owned by the Staples Center goes directly to the Staples Center, and not to the convention center to assist us in paying down the debt. The debt will become due in the year 2001.
I believe it's 2022.
And you'll hold close to $1 billion at the time. Where's it going to come from? The city will be bankrupt with CRA. That is your responsibility. That's what you're voting on. So when you give all these nice speeches about how good the deal is no good. Not today is better than it was. Because I voted against it when it's the bad deal, when you could have had that kind of protection in the original contract, which you didn't have. And Mr. Deaton, I got to tell you, I respect you, but if they go ahead and build what they want to build, and you said 20 years they can't use that space, 100 years they can't use that space, they don't need to use it, they don't want to use it. As long as they get what they want, and there's nothing in the contract that says you can't go forward to build what you want unless we have our hotel, which is not a clause in the contract, which should be. And I'll push my button again if it's okay with you.
Please do. Mr. Pacheco.
Mr. President, Mr. colleagues, first of all, I want to commend Mr. Holden for listening yesterday. The hotel is very important, and we do not have an agreement that binds anyone to building the hotel. However, I think that Ms. Perry today has introduced a substitute motion which puts us in the right direction. Yesterday in committee, I was pretty tough on the whole agreement, but after discussing it further with the parties involved, I believe that we are in a better position today to have a convention center hotel. And if starting the ball rolling today by committing $12 million subsidy to the new hotel, I'm ready to do that today. I think that's an important thing for us to have downtown. We're never going to be competitive in the area of getting conventions to the city of Los Angeles. We need to really be more competitive and really get ahead of Las Vegas and San Diego. We're a premier city, and I believe $12 million is not a high price to pay to make us competitive. So I support the motion and believe that it's about time that we bring the hotel to the city of Los Angeles for our convention center.
Thank you, Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to make some verbal amendments on the amending motion entitled Minority Participation in the Development of the Convention Hotel. In the moving clause, there is the word approval on the second line. I would like to change approval to the word consent. And on the substitute amending motion, I wanted to add in or include in the discussions the CAO and the Community Redevelopment Agency as well, because this is in a redevelopment area and has significant redevelopment issues. Can I get a second on that? Thank you.
Ms. Perry makes a motion and has a second. Mr. Zine.
I was not here yesterday. I was attending the funeral for the deceased deputy sheriff, and I support the concept of the expansion of Los Angeles for tourism and for conventions, etc. I was opposed, and I remain opposed to any more public investment or subsidy, and I've heard numbers from $75 million down to $12 million. The concern is, and I've been to a number of conventions around the country, if you're looking at a hotel with 1,200 rooms and you want to bring in conventions with thousands of people, as they do in Vegas and other locations around this country, a 1,200-room hotel is going to add a little bit, but it's not going to add the 10 to 12,000 rooms if you want to bring these massive conventions. We've had conventions here, the Democratic National Convention, and it would have been nice to have a hotel at the site. We didn't have it, and we got by with the convention. We had the '84 Olympics here. I know we're vying for the 2012 Olympics. We were able to adequately house people who came, athletes, visitors, etc. I'm not going to oppose a proposal to add to the environment to attract more conventions, but I am going to oppose anything that's going to cost the taxpayers any more money, whether it's $12 million or $75 million. I've been to the Staples, and I know that they make a lot of revenue from the events they sponsor, and I know that the convention center has been called the white elephant since its inception. I know that needs to be changed. But I think the people of the city are tired of subsidizing when an operation can put itself together and generate tremendous tax dollars. I know Councilman Holt has a lot of history, a lot of votes in this arena, and I think that additional public investment is going to be fought vigorously by people in my district and the whole region of the San Fernando Valley. Again, I support the minority inclusion in the construction, but no longer any more subsidies for that particular project.
Mr. Reyes.
Council President, colleagues, I truly appreciate the direction we're going with in terms of covering and maintaining our eye on the public tax dollar here. But I just want to bring this back into focus. What we did is we created an environment through land use entitlements to generate an opportunity to create this. And we are betting that the market forces will allow for this hotel to be built. So we are doing everything we can to be vigilant over the coffers of the city. But the fact is that the convention center books in every 3 to 4 year cycles. The approvals today allows for the market forces to allow for the hotel to be generated so that in 4 or 5 years the convention center can book and bring the businesses that we need and the revenues we need in 4 to 5 years. So as Councilman Garcetti says, there's hundreds and thousands of people watching on cable. Let's understand it's not going to happen next year. It's not going to happen the following year. It's going to happen in 4 years, 5 years. That's the way the cycle works with the convention center. So I just want to make that clear. Don't want to create these expectations because we passed this. You're going to have a tremendous change the next year or two. It's going to be in 3 to 4 year cycles. And hopefully by then, we do have a hotel there and we can start booking the events to create the kinds of revenues we need. I did leave out the planning department and thanking them, but I just want to make sure I cover my bases. Thanks.
Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, it's a bad deal. I'm going to repeat that. When you come to a time when you have to cut your losses, the general manager of the convention center says we need a hotel now to be competitive. The problem when you get it is the traffic. You got 300 nights where you're operating the Staples Center. They're bringing a big convention, prime parking, you're going to have problems, which they have not planned for. I brought that up in the initial discussion before the first contract was signed. Now, how do you cut your losses? You're going to have a hotel right now. How are you going to pay for it? Whether you like it or not, you're going to have to subsidize it. Like it or not. With some of the bed taxes, that must be done. Or you'll have no hotel, or you generate additional losses, and you'll generate more money for the general fund in order to pay down the $1.3 billion debt. We got to think this thing through the end, the consequences of our action, or we're going to cause more trouble for the taxpayers of this city, period. How do you cut your losses after approving a bum deal? Mr. Deaton, we didn't have enough clauses in the original contract to protect the taxpayers of the city, to guarantee that Staples Center got what they wanted and what they needed, and we were protected here. And the same thing in this that we have right now. They can go out and build anything they want, as long as they don't touch the land that was set aside, the site, for a hotel. So what does that do for us in terms of paying down our debt? Absolutely nothing. There's no bed tax being generated. That's how you pay down the debt on the convention center. There's nothing being done. It's not saying, okay, you can't build anymore until you get a contract with a hotel operator to start to commence building a hotel. You got to break the ground, then you can build what you want, then we know we're on our way. But that was not done as a part of this contractual agreement, which you just voted on yesterday, which could have been put in there. That means that you would have been given a hot foot, they would have been given a hot foot, and some action would have been taken, and not wait 100 years, which would satisfy you, thinking you're going to say, no, use that space for 100 years. Big deal. They don't have to use it once they get what they want. And I'm saying that we've been negotiating from the point of weakness, not from strength. I would say, yes, let's build a hotel, and yes, you're going to have to subsidize it whether you like it or not, because you can cut your losses that way. You want to comment, Mr. Deaton, I guess?
Two things. One, the original deal was a good deal. As I explained yesterday, we borrowed $70 million. The ticket fee and the parking money are paying that $70 million off. We are being repaid.
They have a shortfall that's coming out of their pocket. Come on, tell us like it is.
The shortfall coming out of their pocket, my job is to make it come out of their pocket, not our pocket. What I'm saying is that it's all coming out of their pocket. I'm saying they paid us back. They pay us roughly $500,000 for the next 20 years for the North Hall site and the Figueroa Plaza, the Figueroa properties. We borrowed $70 million for the relocation, etc. That's a $5.2 million annual payment. $3.5 million that is coming from the ticket fee, and the remainder is coming, if you will, out of their pocket, because the parking money is not making up the difference as it was anticipated, and that was what your negotiating team included in the original contract. Therefore, they are paying. Second, you are at a very difficult point as it relates to that hotel. My view is that if you do not proceed with what is being recommended and what is before you today, that very little will happen there. There is nothing you can do to guarantee a hotel being built there. You have two alternatives for getting it done. One is to say you do not develop anything until you develop a hotel, or you allow for a development there that I believe will encourage the economic activity surrounding that area that will enhance the likelihood of a hotel being built there. I don't disagree that it's a difficult choice, and I have argued, as you have, earlier in this process. However, I believe today that the right thing to do is what's before you today. Proceed with the development. I believe that working with the arena company and with the CRA and the city, we will in fact get a hotel there in the next couple of years.
We have no choice
No
but to proceed,
tenemos
Mr.
otra
Dean.
cosa que proceder.
As I said, we have to cut
Como
our
dije,
losses
podemos cortar
by
nuestras
building a
pérdidas
hotel
haciendo un hotel.
at any cost at most at this point.
Well, I do believe we...
And you do understand that, and you need to tell that to the members of the council. I mean, right now, so when you come before us, not to remind you what you didn't tell them, then you say, oh yeah, I just omitted that part.
Which part did I omit today?
There's got to be a commitment on the part of this council and this city in order to assist in building a hotel, period. You know that. Tell them.
Well, I think that the commitment for sure, and what we're doing now is in the process of creating a nonprofit to allow for tax-exempt financing. We will see where we
My
are.
time is up, but you got to commit to finance. You know that. Say it.
I suspect that we will have to do that. I am not convinced that we have to do it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Is that enough?
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Mr. Ridley Thomas.
I move the previous question on the entire matter. The amending motions are before us, A, B, and C.
Okay, there are two members waiting to speak, but we will open the roll on the previous question, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That ends discussion. Madam Clerk, which is now before us?
Mr. President, since you have a substitute motion, the question of whether to substitute should be voted on first.
Everybody's clear on that. Madam Clerk, please open the roll on substituting the motion. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes, 1 no.
That puts the substitute motion now before us. Madam Clerk, please open the roll on the substitute motion.
Excuse me, Mr. President, there were a couple of amendments that Councilmember Perry had to that. Should I just, those be included in the substitute?
That is the general understanding that the amendments are included in the substitute motion. So Madam Clerk, please open the roll on the substitute as amended. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Substitute motion as amended is adopted.
And also the amending motions need to be voted on. Were those included in that last vote?
Yes, I believe they were.
Oh, and also the items that were on yesterday, well, on the continuation agenda should be received and filed.
Okay, open the roll on receiving and filing the matters that were continued from yesterday's agenda. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those items are received and filed.
Next item, Mr. President, item not on the agenda, special one, is motion presented by Councilmember Misikowski. The city attorney will explain the need to make the findings.
Mr. City Attorney.
Mr. President, members, this is a motion from Councilmember Misikowski regarding the city's consent decree in federal court, and it is required for the council to make a determination under the provisions of the government code and rules of the city council that there is a need to take immediate action on this matter, and the need to take immediate action came to the attention of the council subsequent to the posting of today's agenda.
Any questions on the findings? On the findings? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on the findings. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Special one is now before us. Anybody wishing to speak on the subject matter? Ms. Misikowski.
Mr. President, I just wanted to clarify for the council that we have to report back to the judge every 30 days on the consent decree. And right now, the city attorney is authorized to go back and just report status, but the status is involving some very, very delicate issues regarding meet and confer. This clarifies that any ultimate decision on meet and confer in an attempt to implement some of the issues of the consent decree have to come back for the council, but this instructs the city attorney to go and give specific factual information to the judge as long as it's then also reported to the council. So it's just a clarification that indicates that the city council and the mayor are the clients. The city attorney is authorized to go and provide that information to the judge about what the clients are doing, and then obviously let the clients know as well.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak on special one? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Close the roll.
Ciérrese la lista.
Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That item is approved. We have received a request to send item 46 forthwith. We shall do so.
Vamos a hacerlo.
Next item, please.
Not on the agenda, Special 2 is a motion presented by Councilmember Galanter, and the city attorney will explain the need to make the findings.
Mr. City Attorney.
Fiscal.
Mr. President, members,
Presidente y miembros.
motion from Mrs. Galanter, and for the council to consider it, there's a need to make findings that, under the provisions of the government code and the rules of the city council, that there is a need to take immediate action on this matter, and that the need came to the attention of the council subsequent to the posting of today's agenda.
Any questions or comments on the findings? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Special 2 is now before us. Members wishing to speak on Special 2? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Special 2 is adopted. Next item, please.
Do you wish to clear the desk, Mr. President, before going into closed session?
Let's clear the desk.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
These motions are posted and referred.
Excuses on the desk. Councilmember Miskowski requests to be excused Friday, October 26th. City business meets council policy.
She is excused.
And also, Councilmember Galanter requests to be excused Friday, September 21st. City business, this also meets council policy.
Ms. Galanter is excused.
That clears the desk for closed session.
We have item 45 now, colleagues, a closed session item before us. Before we adjourn into closed session, there is one speaker card submitted on 45D. 45D has been continued. Did you still wish to speak?
Been continued?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought it wasn't. Was it continued? We didn't know.
D. Oh, I'm sorry. B was continued.
Okay.
So, council calls forward Mr. Ben Resnick.
Thank you. This is on item 45D. Very briefly, ladies and gentlemen, this goes back to earlier last year. We had represented an applicant who had since deceased, Mark Hughes, on a project where there was a determination made by the Board of Zoning Appeals that his project, because it's on a fully improved street there, is exempt from the Hillside Ordinance. The City Council took that matter up on a Proposition 5 review and actually upheld that determination, but added a condition. That was challenged in court by the homeowners associations. In defending the case in court, the judge had ordered to set aside your decision, and so the case comes back to you now with a court order that says your decision was not legal because you added a condition to it. The reason I'm addressing you is the following. You have before you today, and really, as I understand it, no real option other than to set aside your decision, which was ordered by the court to be done. And because under Proposition 5, the old Charter Section 32.3, and under the new Charter, Charter Section 245, the time of the council to modify or veto a commission action has expired. So you cannot take a new action on what has already expired. And what I'm concerned about, and why I'm speaking on behalf of the client, is simply that in executive session, when you discuss your options, we hope that you recognize that. I believe that that is the legal position the city should take, and not try to redo and replan this issue, and as such, recognize the limitations. I would ask that there is, I think, an issue of the Hillside Ordinance is being relooked at by the council. You now are considering amendments to the Hillside Ordinance that might involve some of these issues, but our position is simply the council doesn't have the legal authority at this time to modify or change the Board of Zoning Appeal decision because the time has elapsed. The 21 days has elapsed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes public comments on item 45. In conformance with California Code, the council will now adjourn into closed session. Guards, please clear the chambers. back into open session. Madam Clerk, what remains before us?
Item number 45D, which is settlement, well, it's rescinding the council's action according to previous court order in Canyon Homeowners Association Law versus the City of LA.
Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That item is adopted. Next item, please.
That clears the desk, Mr. President.
Adjourning motions, colleagues? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.
Oh, that's it.